Vatican City, although it is the smallest nation in the world, its size is compensated by the intrigue it generates. This is the backdrop for tales of angels and demons. The country has inspired numerous conspiracy theories, horror narratives, and thrillers. And at its core lies a collection of archives that date back up to 12 centuries, containing some of history's most closely guarded secrets, spanning 50 miles of shelves. These archives hold letters from significant historical figures and texts that reveal deep secrets, modern scandals, and ancient mysteries. Rumors suggest that everything from alien existence to the activities of the Illuminati is stored within these dusty files. It's easy to see why journalists, scholars, and the public have sought access to these documents for centuries. Now, as of March 2020, they have been released into the public domain. So what do they contain? Let's delve into one of the most notorious scandals of all. In 1939, Vatican City finds itself under Mussolini's rule in Italy, where a fascist dictator is solidifying his power by creating a cult of personality and establishing a police state while attempting to restore Italy's empire and persecuting minorities. On the bright side, he has just signed a treaty recognizing the independence of Vatican City. You take the good with the bad. As if the significant shifts in Italy's political landscape weren't enough, major changes are occurring across the continent. Adolf Hitler has recently ascended to power in Germany and has begun his own totalitarian regime. It is said he draws inspiration from Mussolini due to the similarities in their ideologies. Hitler's invasion of Poland is a bold and aggressive action that leads to the persecution of Polish Jews. In the following years, the fascist dictator expands his reign of terror closer to home. In Italy, Jews are taken from their homes in Rome and held near the Vatican, facing deportation to Auschwitz in the near future. This is a tragically sad situation, and fear is widespread. However, hope is not yet lost. There is one man who may be able to address the crisis and save the Jews, at least within Italy. It's not a bird or a plane. It's Pope Pius XII, who has been the head of the Catholic Church since 1939. The Pope has always commanded significant respect and influence globally, and he is also the leader of a sovereign nation, Vatican City. If anyone could sway public opinion against Hitler or even reason with him, it would be the Pope. He should at least be able to protect the Jews within his own territory from persecution. After all, Vatican City has maintained neutrality during World War II with a population of just a few hundred people, making their involvement minimal, and the bombing of such a historically significant site as St. Peter's Square and Basilica was too great a risk. Still, the Pope could have publicly condemned the Nazis' actions, privately urged Hitler to spare the people of Rome, or even ordered the release of Jews held nearby. Surely, the leader of a faith that promotes tolerance, forgiveness, and loving one's neighbor would do everything in his power to protect those in danger. Instead, he said and did nothing. This moment in history is unforgettable and continues to divide Catholics. Some condemn Pope Pius XII for his actions or inactions, viewing him as complicit in the persecution by Mussolini and Hitler. By remaining silent, he allowed many to die. Yet others believe he is innocent, fulfilled his duties effectively, and deserves sainthood. How can we reconcile such opposing views? It boils down to the absence of concrete proof. No one truly knows what transpired behind closed doors all those years ago. Sure, we know the Pope opted not to intervene or publicly condemn Mussolini or Hitler, actions he likely should have taken in hindsight. One could argue he feared causing more harm than good and felt it was his responsibility to safeguard the sacred legacy of Vatican City. Even after the war ended, he still did not speak out against the treatment of Jews and allegedly assisted fascist war criminals in fleeing the country. Thus, making a case for Pope Pius XII as a saint is complicated. The true motives of the Catholic Church and the extent of the Pope's collusion with Mussolini and Hitler remain shrouded in mystery. Does this mean we will never uncover the truth? Certainly not. The information exists, but it is locked away in the infamous Vatican Secret Archives, now referred to as the Vatican Apostolic Archives. But you might question why I mentioned that the archives have become public. Well, it's not as straightforward as it sounds. Remember, there are 50 miles of shelves filled with who knows how many documents. It will take considerable time to sift through them, even for the most prepared and knowledgeable scholars, especially now that the information is finally accessible accessible to ordinary individuals like you and me. Select researchers have had access since 1881. Yes, that's correct, 1881. And we are still trying to determine what transpired during World War II. This is because access has not been easily granted. You can't simply be any history student claiming you need information for a thesis about the Pope's response to Hitler. Only the most dedicated scholars are allowed entry. Even those granted permission can only request 3 documents daily. You cannot browse. You must know precisely what you are looking for. Additionally, everything is written in either Italian or Latin, which are not the most commonly spoken languages. Some historians have managed to uncover certain details. One found that the Pope and Mussolini made agreements to protect the church in exchange for the Pope's silence on anti-Semitism. However, the truth regarding the Nazis is still largely concealed. So, what has changed now? Access is now available to anyone interested rather than just a select few, but there are still restrictions on how much one can read each day, along with significant challenges due to language barriers and the difficulty of locating the necessary information. There are millions of documents, all filed in a confusing manner. There is no library computer system indicating where letters between the Pope and Mussolini are stored. And that assumes the information you seek is actually in the Vatican archives to begin with. Some crucial texts may be hidden away in alternate archives, such as the Jesuit archives or the Vicarious archives. Others appear to have mysteriously vanished, never to be seen again. Essentially, do not expect a tell-all documentary to be produced by next month. However, those in power have already adopted a defensive stance. The Italian press has begun publishing more articles on the subject, seemingly rewriting history. These articles include claims that the Pope was so democratic that Mussolini attempted to prevent him from gaining power, or that the Pope actually saved Roman Jews and thwarted Hitler from invading the Vatican. As you might expect, these stories are often vague in their assertions. You might think it sounds somewhat suspicious, as if something significant is being concealed. Surely the archives will reveal more than just the Pope's efforts to assist. When has any suppressed information about a government or authority figure ever been positive? It does not help that the individual managing the archives, Bishop Sergio Pagano, is also behaving somewhat defensively. He has previously been hesitant to reveal the documents, as has the Pope in the lead up to their release to the public. He acknowledged that certain groups have high expectations for these documents and that this is a significant issue. Well, obviously, for now, we will have to wait and see. Of course, there is more to the Vatican secret archives than merely Hitler, Mussolini, and Pope Pius XII. The history encapsulates 12 centuries, not just a few decades. Some speculate that they may contain magical texts. I can almost hear your groans. Yes, it is likely this is not true, but indulge me for a moment. The Vatican's secret archives are rumored to hold a book called the Grand Grimoire, which supposedly contains instructions for summoning Satan. A grimoire is a book used for various magical purposes, including creating amulets and talismans, casting spells, and summoning supernatural beings. The Grand Grimoire is believed to be the most powerful of its kind, as it purportedly contains information on making a pact with the devil, transitioning from ultimate evil to divine goodness. The archives may also hold details about the most significant figure in relation to the Catholic Church, Jesus Christ himself. Some believe the archives could conceal top secret information, questioning whether the master miracle maker actually existed and if he has living descendants today. There were claims of correspondence between St. Paul and Emperor Nero regarding this matter. Even more sensationally, there could be evidence suggesting that Jesus does not exist at all. If any proof were to emerge regarding Jesus' non-existence, it is unlikely it would be made public easily. However, you never know. If all this seems too bizarre for you, brace yourself for what comes next. The archives may contain information regarding the existence of extraterrestrial life. You might wonder why the Catholic Church would have any knowledge of this. I'm not entirely sure myself, but conspiracy theorists speculate that the Church may be concealing information about alien skulls, or that the Pope is currently in contact with extraterrestrials. That would certainly overshadow any communications with Hitler. Another secret the archives could clarify relates to the third secret of Fatima. You may be familiar with the famous story which states that 3 Portuguese children received visions and prophecies from the Virgin Mary in 1917, with each child being visited regularly over several months. The children were told 3 secrets, which they were instructed to pass on to the bishop, but one child hesitated to reveal the elusive third secret. Believing God had instructed her not to, she sealed the secret away to be opened in 1960. Pope John Paul II released this secret to the public in 2000, but many doubt that it is the complete or actual secret. And instead, some suspect the secret could pertain to something as drastic as the abandonment of the papacy or an impending apocalypse. No discussion of conspiracy theories would be complete without mentioning the Illuminati. Many believe that the Illuminati have influenced the archives, possibly even controlling them. Consequently, there may be documents verifying the role of Freemasons within this ancient institution. If that weren't peculiar enough, some think the archives contain information about a mysterious device called the chronovisor, which allows users to view past and present events, much like a high-tech crystal ball. Father Pellegrino Maria Ernetti is said to have created the machine to record Christ's crucifixion. However, no details or evidence have surfaced. If you ask me, that seems rather far-fetched, but at this point, there's no use in being overly realistic. Additionally, the Copenhagen Museum of Erotica claims that the Vatican possesses the world's largest collection of erotic literature, a claim echoed by various scholars. There are also documents that may be more believable as being housed in the archives. These include a letter from Michelangelo to Pope Julius II, documents pertaining to the division of territories between Spain and Portugal, a petition from Henry VIII seeking an annulment from Catherine of Aragon in 1530, which led to the establishment of the Church of England, notes related to the trial of Galileo in 1633, a papal bull excommunicating Martin Luther, and a letter from Mary, Queen of Scots, asking for assistance in halting her execution. And do you want to know the biggest secret of all? The archives are only referred to as secret due to a mistranslation. While they are known as Archivum Secretum Apostolicum Vaticanum, the term secretum does not mean secret, it means personal or private. Nevertheless, they are clearly quite secretive if they have remained out of public view for so long, so it's all just a matter of semantics. To uncover more mysteries regarding the Pope and the Vatican.
Thank you for watching PJ Pro TV.